Maidstone could be formally wound up tomorrow unless an 11th hour saviour comes forward. A meeting of shareholders is likely to confirm that the club will go into liquidation. Nick Collins reports on the seemingly imminent demise of the Stones.
Jim Thompson spent nearly 20 years fighting to get Maidstone into the Football League. It was he who'd masterminded the non-league pyramid system, enabling the Vauxhall Conference champions to win automatic promotion to the 4th Division. His beloved Maidstone achieved that dream in 1989. But 3 years on, the club are on the brink of extinction. And a quick glance at the local paper headlines would appear to confirm that Thompson has lost his biggest battle of all. This is where he was defeated. Bounded by the M20 motorway, Woodcut Farm at Holling Bourne was to be the site of a spectacular new home for the club, which so far has spent its entire Football League career sharing the Watling Street ground of non-league Dartford 30 miles away. Falling gates meant a return to Maidstone was fast becoming a financial necessity. The plans for the new stadium at Holling Bourne were ambitious, all-seater with a 10,000 capacity. The development appeared to have the tacit approval of the powers that be and was geared to the community, with plans also for a cinema, hotels and a 10-pin bowling alley. It looked as if the club's gamble in selling its old ground in the town at London Road in 1988 to the MFI furnishing chain was finally going to pay dividends. The £2.8 million would pay for the Stones to come home, their long search for a new headquarters apparently over. But Thompson's calculations failed to appreciate that the council planning office, headed by this man Trevor Gasson, might not be quite so keen. The club lost the planning application and are in no doubt as to who they believe are the real culprits.
I blame the town council for the situation and the councillors. We had a mixed council. We had one Labour man voting for us, another one against us. We had 2 or 3 Conservatives supporting us, half a dozen against us. We had Liberals voting for us and against us, Independents voting for and against us. It was just a total shambles.
I think that it's very sad that Maidstone United may well disappear. That's certainly never been the intention of the Borough Council. And indeed, when Maidstone, of their own volition, decided to leave the London Road ground in Maidstone and moved up to Dartford, once they won promotion to the Football League, the Borough Council did in fact do all they could to help find an alternative site for a new stadium in Maidstone.
It's the not in my backyard syndrome, isn't it? And Trevor Gasson, the town planner himself, said it's unlikely, and I quote, that a site will be found that is perfect for anyone. He also went on to say, however, that the Holling Bourne site that we eventually chose was the best possible one. But we tried over 50 sites, as you know, and each time there was something wrong or something difficult with it.
The rejection proved a crushing blow for the club. They'd spent heavily on surveys, confident that the council would back them in their hour of need.
We carried out 3 exhibitions, as you know, throughout the villages. We had a town centre exhibition. We sent out 42,000 mailing leaflets to people. And then following that, we also had an arm's length opinion poll. And 86% of the people of Maidstone said, A, they wanted that site, and B, what we were putting on it was needed and would be welcomed by the town. For the town councillors then to turn that down in the face of the overwhelming support of their own constituencies, I think is reprehensible.
I think it's probably fair to say that the football club's own survey showed a large number of people in support of a football stadium in Maidstone in principle, and I think probably nobody would argue with that. The fact of the matter was that the particular site that they selected and the particular development they were proposing was not considered to be acceptable.
In a nutshell, the club's scheme was considered too elaborate. Meanwhile, the planning war had dragged on far longer than the club had anticipated, draining valuable resources.
We spent £350,000 to £400,000 on the actual application itself, on our engineering, architects' plans and things like that. Very, very expensive. Mr. Gasson and the town council required a far, far greater in-depth presentation to them than is normal for an outline planning application. For instance, at one stage they asked us for 80 copies of a set of documents, which each document cost £30 a set to run off. And we provided those for them in the spirit of cooperation with the council. But the money that was lost then wasn't just the expense of going to build up the Holling Bourne situation. It was the fact the club was losing money every month at Dartford. And that's where the trouble happened. 2 years at Dartford, you're losing £400,000 to £500,000 a year. Your money goes out of the drain. Your cash flow projections go down. And we had projected our cash flow so that we could just get on time to the application date. If we'd won our application, immediately we got that, the banks would have stepped in and supported us.
3.5 weeks after the planning defeat, the club suffered another major blow. Non-league Kettering knocked them out of the FA Cup, thus cutting off a potential life-saving source of income. After that, there was precious little for Maidstone's players to celebrate. They weren't even paid in April or May. Meanwhile, the club spent a fruitless year looking for a new backer. They need £500,000, but they do plan to appeal against the council's decision.
The real problem is the risk factor on Holling Bourne. Will we win the appeal at Holling Bourne or not? Once we win the appeal at Holling Bourne, then people will come out of the woodwork in their droves wanting to put money in, banks will want to lend you money, etc. But in the present climate, nobody wants to take the risk.
This stadium then may prove an impossible dream, but even if the league club folds, the board aim to resurrect a team in the town.
Whether we have a football league club or not doesn't matter. The most important thing is to get a stadium for the town, which is what we're trying to do. And once we do that, then we'll start at the bottom again. And we'll fight our way up the Kent League, the Beezer Holmes League, the conference hopefully, and back where we belong again.
Brave words, but as far as Maidstone United are concerned, this board may remain like this for some time. As for the council, well, their final words make the club's plight even more hard to understand.
As a matter of principle, we would very much like to see Maidstone United back playing in Maidstone.
So why did it all go wrong? Come Wednesday, unless a new backer is found, the club goes out of business. Perhaps someone should have spoken to the next-door neighbours.
Yes, maybe they should. Nick Collins reporting whatever the rights and wrongs of the arguments on both sides. I just find it sad that we may be losing another Football League club. Neil, you've experienced the emotion, the joy that they did, getting promoted from the conference into the Football League. You know the people concerned, I think, as well, don't you?
Jim Thompson is one of the top guys who was in the non-league. He really instigated the automatic promotion. And when I was at Scarborough in '86, we were fortunate to actually get promotion on our own results. And he went a long way to doing that. It's sad to see that situation. We had other different problems to Maidstone. Everybody that goes in has problems. We had a problem with the Football League, I think it was. We were told we had to put all fencing around the ground at Scarborough, and I think it cost us £200,000. And then within 2 weeks, I think we played Halifax away, and there wasn't a fence in sight. It seemed ridiculous that we were all part-time, and the majority of our money, in fact, we had to go into debt and almost folded ourselves, had to go towards fencing, which is, they've all been pulled down now. And Maidstone's plight, I think you can see from the report, really, you get certain councillors who are all mixed, Labours, Conservatives, you know, you get your politics within politics in certain councils.
Non-football fans, presumably, as well. And isn't that frustrating? It's a tale we've heard time and again of clubs wanting to build stadiums and town planners saying, can't have the land, can't be done.
I think it's very sad. I think, especially in the Maidstone case, I think it's they're trying to be very go-ahead. Looking, I think, obviously to help the community as well by all the plans. And on the look of the plans, there looks to be a lot of good ideas there. And you know, to be at the moment rejected, I think must be very hard for them, especially pouring all that money away. And because at the moment, I think money is tight to come by, especially for clubs in the in the lower divisions. I mean, it's all important. And as Neil was saying, they nearly went out of business when they first came into the league. Now it's going to be seen that getting into the league is going to force you out of business. Then where's the incentive? And I think we've always seen it's been very sad this season. We've seen the Aldershot situation, and it looks very sad now that Maidstone have you know, look like falling by the wayside as well.
Well, it's never too late. Fingers crossed that maybe somebody can be found to provide a few bob for Maidstone United. Another short break, and we'll be back in a moment or so with some of your letters. Stay where you are.